Let's do it. Welcome inside the CRWC for tonight's Game 1 volleyball doubleheader as the Durham Lords are going to be taking on the Seneca Sting on a beautiful, well, not so beautiful, Johnny, a rainy Thursday, November 16th.
Yeah, it could be worse. It could be snow, though.
Joey Chapman and John Lodge with you at Joey Chapman 54 and at
Just John 619.
At Just John 619. I knew it and I still forget it. I just typed it in on my Twitter and I get complacent, John. It just pops up and I just hit the button, and we've done this so many times now. It knows what I'm looking for. As we get you guys set here, as the Lords are doing their introductions for a very good volleyball matchup, as we have the number 5 ranked Durham Lords taking on the number 10 ranked Seneca Sting. This is just the third home game of the year for the Lords. Their last home game, we saw them, John. They lost
straight sets.
Yeah, straight sets in a disappointing effort to the Loyalist Lancers, giving them their first loss in regular season play in over a year, as the Lords finished their 2016-27 campaign undefeated. They'll be taking on the aforementioned Seneca College, and the Sting so far on the year 4-2, with losses coming to Loyalist and Algonquin. They're losing at home to Algonquin just a few days ago on the 10th before Remembrance Day. And their last matchup was at La Cite, or home to La Cite, excuse me, as they made their way in from Ottawa, only to lose to the Sting's team 3-0 as they get on the board first here. Serving for the Sting, number 4, Lauren Watt, not the libero for this team, excuse me, as that ball is sent over the net. And a good early rally here for the Sting, as Romaine just sends that ball over.
Yeah, the Lords are going to have to clean up their unforced errors from their last home game. I was talking with a member of the men's squad in the hallway before the game, and that's just a killer every time, man. You put the ball into the net, you put it long, or even chasing balls that are going to go long. It's just all mental play at that point.
Oh, for sure, John. That was definitely the Achilles heel for this Lords team last time we saw them. A lot of unforced errors, unable to control serve in that straight sets loss to Loyalist. Loyalist is a top 5 team in the country, or in the province, like the Lords. They have now bumped their way up to 4th in the OCAA women's volleyball standings after their win here against the Lords. That ball is sent high and over. That is Jessica Johansson. First time we've said her name tonight. The Pickering, Ontario native is a very strong player for this Lords team, and it will not be the last time we say her name.
Did the Lords end up losing standing after losing at home?
They did, Johnny. They bumped down to. They started the year 3rd in the province. They are now 5th after that loss to Loyalists. Loyalists jumped over them,
as we had predicted.
Yeah, it's tough to keep your spot when you lose to a team lower than you in the standings. As we currently sit, we have Humber, Fanshawe, St. Clair, Loyalists, Durham, Niagara, Sheridan, Algonquin, the Mohawk Mountaineers, and the Seneca Sting rounding out the top 10 in the OCAA women's volleyball rankings.
We already have a closer matchup in this one, Joey, than we had at the beginning of the first set last home game. The Lords seem to be playing a tighter, more cohesive game.
And as we talked about, John, there's a lot of rookies for this Lords lineup, as we see a couple of them on the court now, and players like Sarah Raymond and Cassidy Nicholson-Clark. A big turnaround for this team that went undefeated last year. Devin Frazier, Alexa Armstrong, all players who weren't on this Lords team last year for their undefeated season, and have now really embraced the opportunity to become a Lord and step up and play a big part in this with this team so early in their OCAA careers.
Got a 2-touch there by Seneca, Joey, and the Lords have a 3-point lead.
Which is what we what was so unable for the Lords to do in their first matchup. They were unable to take the lead against Loyalist and really hang on to it. Every time they got it close, the Lancers found a way to extend And Durham certainly looking to reverse the fortunes here as a nice double block there in front of the nets. That was Alexia Armstrong and Allison Terwilliger teaming up for that. Nice block getting up there as Sarah Raymond continues to hold serve.
Yeah, it's that's key. It's another thing I was talking about with Evan. Holding serve in this sport is 100% the most important thing you can do, because that's how you put a stranglehold on the other side, right? You put your foot on the neck and be able to keep them down.
For sure, John. That's going to be the big team of the night, as we've seen so far in early action here at the OCAA. Whoever holds serve the longest is going to win. It seems like a very simple game plan, John. Keep on serve, don't make unforced errors, but in such a fast-paced sport like this, things happen as that ball is unable to be returned there by Raymond. She's going to lose her serve, but the Lords take advantage of a nice run there. 7-3 now the score.
Yeah, it just deflected off of her hands there. She wasn't able to get underneath that one.
As this ball is sent over the net by Nicole Boyd, the Thornhill, Ontario native, in her first year as a Sting. So that ball just goes wide, and the Lords will get served back here, as the Seneca player just got a little too much on that, John.
Great job by Fraser not making contact with that one, so it didn't deflect off and give the point to Seneca.
Last year, these two teams played twice right here at Oshawa at the CRWC. The Lords defeated the Sting in straight sets, and in their other matchup at Seneca on December 7th, the Lords defeated them in straight sets as well.
Yeah, that was a pretty dominant team that Coach Clark had last year. And it must have been a difficult thing for him to lose his first game in well over a year last time at home.
For sure, John, but the girls have responded, and they did so with a straight set victory at Fleming on November the 11th. This is their first game in 5 games, and they win the battle for the first time out, as the Sting will call it here with the Lords up 10-3, and a nice early run here led off the serve from Sarah Raymond. And the Lords quickly up by 7.
Yeah, it's a good timeout when the head coach does not have much to say. It's mostly being handled by assistant coach Alex. As our boss comes up and tells us we're being way too loud and we need to turn it down.
And the Lords here looking to continue their strong play on the season, John. They're not going to have a chance at the undefeated year like they did last year, but they've been good so far in 4 matches, 3-1. They're hitting the ball well. What I really find impressive from the Lords is the way they're able to dig the ball out of trouble, and they're averaging over 10 digs a set, Johnny. And being able to extend plays and get low and get those points is going to be a real key for them today and throughout the season. And we apologize for breaking your eardrums so early into this game. John Lodge and Joey Chapman with you. That ball just nicked the line, and Seneca will get served back here. Taylor Butcher, another first-year player for this Sting team, has the serve.
Armstrong just checked out for our libero, Fraser.
Sends that ball over, batted over by Terwilliger. Seneca tries to send it back. A big miss there as Lauren Watt just hit that ball fat. The 5th-year player at a Barry with an uncharacteristic mistake. And John, Amy Saveath and Watt are going to be 2 players to watch here. The only 2 5th-year players in this game on either side of the court. Excuse me, Aaron Marshall is a 5th-year for the Durham Lords. We have not seen a lot of Marshall early on this season, but these 2 5th-years for Seneca get a lot of playing time, and they are really led by Saveath, who leads the team in all major categories. As Durham gets this ball over, Raymond sends it over. A nice dig there by Butchers. So Sting trying to answer back, but another ball just hit too hard by Lauren Watt. And the Lords extend their lead now to 13-4 as they're closing in on their first double-digit lead of the set, excuse me, John.
Ooh, that was close there. That was almost one of those brain cramp errors. The Seneca player, the Seneca libero, Danielle Wagstaff, almost went after a ball that was going wide or going long.
Yeah, just a little too much power on that serve from Terwilliger. The Sting try and answer here. Here's Miller with a big serve over the net, dug out by Raymond. There's a nice little bump and set for Nicholson Clark as they get that ball over, and Sting try and answer. But number 14, Amy Saveath, just gets too much of that. And early here, Johnny, as we talked about, unforced errors, the big difference is Seneca is having trouble putting the ball in play on those spikes at the net.
Yeah, I just don't understand that play there. Why hammer it so hard? You know you only have a certain amount of space you can put it in. I would think that the better play would be to mentally try and mess with the team and go up for a big shot and just put a little bit on it and take them by surprise. But, you know, I'm not the one down there on the court playing the game, so obviously, you know, what I have to say doesn't matter.
It looks a lot easier up here, I think, from the Kate Burness Media Gondola right here at the CRWC in beautiful North Oshawa.
Yeah, sports definitely look easier and are easier to talk about than they are to play.
That,
so
for sure, but that's why it's much easier up here, Johnny. I like it. As Durham takes advantage of another unforced error there, Nicole Boyd for the Sting. There's a bit of a miscommunication, it looked like there, as Seneca unable to get the ball over, and this Lord's lead is now at 12.
yeah, Coach Clark is definitely liking what he has to see there. There you go, and that was the right amount of power to put on it. And the big thing is she got on top of it. She didn't get underneath it, so she sent it down as opposed to long.
Yeah, we see that sometimes in the women's game, John. Sometimes they just don't get the height on their jumps in front of the net to really be able to put the downward force on the ball, but an excellent play there by the Lords. And another one there. That was a rocket there by Saveath, making her presence known in her first big noticeable moment of the match. She jumped up and got all of that spike to take the serve away from Johansson and the Lords.
It must have heard us talking about them not getting on top of the ball.
And
just as we say that, though, another unforced error there and
yeah,
a poor serve.
And that's Saveath. She makes the nice play to get serve back, but then a one serve and done. And the Lords just 6 points away from cruising to an early set victory here. Sent over the net by Nicholson Clark.
Too much on that one.
But Clark gets under just a little too much, as you say, Johnny, and she's going to come out as libero Devin Frazier comes back in. We see a lot of interchanging from Coach Clark using his libero and finding different ways to get involved.
Our libero is a first year as well.
Yeah, lots of first years on this Lord's team. The veteran group that went undefeated, not the same club, but they have started out strong despite a number of first-year players on the season. And this is an excellent start here at home, John. 5 points away from this first set as Romaine sends that ball over, and she just gets under that a little too much as the unforced errors continue here from both sides.
Yeah, I think Durham kind of got the home court call on that last one that our line judge said went long. It was very close to hitting that back end of the line there. I'll take it, though.
Romaine sends that up. Raymond just slaps it over, dug out there by Saveath. And that ball hit off the net hard, but an unfortunate circumstances there for Alexia Armstrong, who went up for it. And all at 6'2", she had the ball right there. But a nice battle at the net between her and the Sting player. And that ball just falls on the Lord's side of the court. 12-9 the score.
The Lords have two players who are 6'2", and that's the women's squad.
Yeah, Madison McBurney and Alexa Armstrong. Haven't seen a lot of McBurney here so far in this game, but we saw a lot of her last week, John, and we see her standing over there on the bench patiently waiting to get back in this game as Raymond sends the ball over the net, and it caught Saveath a little off guard, but they get it back over. And a nice set there from Romaine as the Lords have a nice attack going. Romaine sets it for Frazier. Frazier moves it over to Johansson, but that ball, not a good...
3 touches.
Yeah, not a good attempt there as that ball went to the right side of the net, and all Johansson could do was just get a little piece of it. but unable to get it over the net there as Seneca cuts this Lord's lead to 11.
Totally unfair to us right now. They're cooking popcorn right below us. I don't know if you smell it, but I definitely do.
I was trying to ignore it, Johnny, but sometimes there's some things in life you can't ignore, and the smell of fresh popcorn, certainly not one of them. As right here at the CRWC, we have a full service for you. If you come out and watch the games, you can get yourself a Durham dog, some popcorn. There's lots of people in the stands here already enjoying some of the excellent food and beverages brought to you by the Durham College game day staff.
And the Sting just took their second charge timeout here. And I guess, with 3 points to go till the set's over, it's probably a smart call.
Yeah, when you're getting doubled up in the first set, John, 22-11, it's not a bad timeout from head coach Shane Christopher. And what I noticed about Christopher when I was doing some game prep for this game, John, is he likes to roll with his team. He doesn't make a lot of substitutions. Looking at some of their game sheets from early in the season and last year, a lot of time there was only 7, 8 players getting into the game. So he leans on his big dogs, and that's what he's going to continue to do, as he's yet to make a substitution here so far in this game. But a couple early timeouts, and certainly not the way he would like this game to start, as his team on the road has not come out with a lot of effort and intensity, making a bunch of unforced errors, and find themselves 3 points away from losing this first set to the Lords, and they will have serve, and it's going to be Alexa Armstrong with the ball in her hand. She sends that ball over the net. Seneca tries to get a return going here. They do. Raymond bumps the ball to Romaine. Romaine, nice set there, but blocked was Terwilliger. The Lords recovered as Raymond, off the bit of a broken rally, tries to hit that ball, but gets a little on the side of her hand, and that sails out of bounds. Lords lead now down to 10, 22-12 the score.
Yeah, you'd said earlier that we got a lot of first-year players playing for the Lords, and I think that's because Coach Clark is trying to build a community with this team. When you have so many players starting out with you and having their first year of eligibility in the OCAA, and after especially coming off of a no loss season last year and losing so many players, you try and rebuild, right? And rebuilding on the fly and staying competitive is one of the most difficult things you can do in sports.
For sure, John, and that's the nature of the beast in collegiate athletics. You can have the best team in the league go undefeated, but when 4 or 5 players are graduate from school, there's nothing you can do. They're not on your club anymore, and you have to find a way to rebuild. And it looks like Coach Clark has done a good job finding so many young first-year players who can step in and contribute right away. As the Lords look here to end this set, Romaine sets it up for Johansson, and that ball hits the line past a diving Taylor Butcher. As an excellent play there by Johansson to put the Lords 1 point away from this early set victory. Terwilliger will have to serve.
For the set, here we go.
Terwilliger sends that ball over as Seneca tries to get a return going here. Saveath sends that ball over. Romaine with the set. And a smash there from Johansson.
Beautiful.
25-13. The Lords take the first set here at the CRWC. And John, that was a convincing first set victory.
Yeah, that was much better than what we seen last week here, Joey. Almost no unforced errors for the Lords. Couple long serves. Couple little plays that maybe you would do a little bit differently, but the majority, sports are never going to be perfect. So for the majority, I'll take a 70 or 80% efficiency any day.
Yeah, you can't complain with that. I circled Sarah Raymond and her 7-point serve in a row there to really put the Lords up ahead, and they never looked back.
Yeah, controlling the serve is so key in volleyball, man. If you can do that, then the other team has no choice. I mean, there's nothing you can do. It's just point after point after point after point, right?
Yeah, the more we watch and have an opportunity to watch OCAA volleyball, John, with both me and you doing the men's and women's games, you really can see just how important keeping control of the ball is, and the difference in the game when you're chasing it and trying to get serve back, as opposed to taking serve and controlling the pace of play and the game.
Yeah, watching sports, like hockey and football, and they always talk about possession, time of possession, and how key it is. And yeah, you're right, but it's no more key in any other sport than in volleyball because, man, you can't score points without possession of the ball unless the other team hands you possession of the ball. So, yeah, you talk about it being key anywhere. It's especially key here. Getting set here for the second set. We got about a minute to go till we're back in action.
1:05 left in this break here.
While we have the break, I will remind you that the Jake and John show is on every Wednesday and Friday morning at 9 a.m. But tomorrow is a special show. We will be airing against Hockey Central at noon. We will be going live at 12 lunchtime. So make sure to check us out. We'll have lots to talk about. We'll be keying in on your Durham Lords, what they do tonight, and we have Thursday night football going. And we also have the Toronto Maple Leafs playing tonight for their fourth game without All-Star center phenom Austin Matthews. So
is that confirmed, Johnny? I didn't know Austin
that
wasn't
is
gonna play.
confirmed. So it'll be interesting to see if they can pull out a win against the high-powered New Jersey Devils offense. And yes, you heard me right, high-powered New Jersey Devils offense. Haven't been able to say that for like well over a decade. As we're back in play here with Seneca taking the serve, or returning the serve.
A nice dig there by Surveith. Seneca sends this ball over, and that just hits the arm of Alexa Armstrong and gets out of bounds. Sorry, Johnny, I was a little distracted.
Oh,
there
no, I got
seems to
you
be
back.
some strike updates going on that it looks like they're going to try and impose some back to school or back to work initiatives for the teachers, but it's early to say, and Twitter is not always the best source of information, so we'll keep you updated if we learn anything. But I'm not expecting to go back to school tomorrow or Monday or any day soon, John, and we are on nearing the end of week 5 of the Ontario-wide college strike. And
it has not been enjoyable.
No, it's a stressful time for everybody involved, and we're just looking for a resolution to this conflict shortly, or scrap the semester and let us all pass. Whatever you want to do, but now is not the time or the place to complain, I guess, as the Lords are down 2-1 here early in this second set as they try and return this. Romaine sets it for Nicholson Clark, or to Williger, excuse me, and she just taps that over the net as a nice ball there off of Sabaev again for the Sting. She finds an empty spot in the defense. And
when you have a wide open
floor.
spot like that to aim at, it's really, really easy to not put it wide or long. So, yeah, it was a lapse in Lord's defense there, and something they're going to have to clean up. Oh, what a great strike there. As she just keeps it inside the line, does Jessica Johnson. Another, that's a second-year player, actually. I was about to say another first-year player, but
Johansson, a 98, playing on this team that lots. It seems like they get younger and younger every year, John.
oh my, don't start that because I'm an 87, so no thanks.
You and Sid, buddy, you and Sid.
Yeah.
To Williger with a nice play there for the Lords.
Me, Sid, and Carrie. Carrie Price, that is.
All you 87 birthdays is the Lords find a way to get the point there. Now back up on top 5-3. And Seneca struggling to get any momentum here offensively, John. They haven't really been able to get a string of points going as a nice bump and return here from Durham to Williger. Just taps that ball over.
She's done that a few times, and I love that move. That's what I was talking about, going up tall and faking that big spike and then just touching it with the tips of your fingers and putting it over.
And a bit of an unforced error there against the Lords as they're going to get called for the lift. And giving Seneca back the ball here, serving for the Sting, number 4, Lauren Watt, the other fifth-year player for this Sting team. And that ball is sent into the net by Nicholson Clark.
Yeah, it's a big block there by Seneca.
We're tied up here at 5s in the second set. Lords lead 1-0 over the number 10th ranked Seneca Sting. Raymond sends that ball high up for Frazier. Frazier for Johansson. Johansson just unable to get over that ball enough as she's a little too far under it. Misses the back left corner of the court. Joey Chapman, John Lodge with you, tuning in on the Lords YouTube network. As this ball is sent over by Durham. Savayeth tries to slam it, but Nicholson Clark got a hand on it. Romaines for Terwilliger, and Terwilliger just a little too much of that. She missed the far touchline here. And just like that, John, as soon as I said Seneca hasn't really found a way to string a bunch of points together here, they have 4 in a row, and they've taken a 7-5 lead. As that ball just hits the line, Coach Clark not impressed with that one, as he was standing right there, but the line judge says it nicked the line, as Lauren Watt continues a very strong serving performance here as she sends another ball over for Frazier. Frazier to Romaine. Romaine to Williger, and that ball is blocked, and Seneca has a chance to return. But that ball is off the hand of Amy Savayeth, just a little long. And when I say a little, I mean 2.5 feet long. And Durham gets the ball back.
That one almost went to Peterborough, Joey. That was a little bit more than a little long.
Trying to hit Highway 7 with that one. As there's going to be a sub here. Vandenheuvel stepping in for Terwilliger on the serve. Vandenheuvel, we're going to see that a couple times here, John. I think her coming in to serve, we saw it a bunch of times against Loyalist, and she's involved here early as she sets that for Romaine. Romaine sets it up for Johansson, and Johansson again makes no mistake with that ball, slamming it down as the Lords cut this Seneca Sting lead to 1 in the second set.
Yeah, it's interesting there because she clearly came in just to serve, and I'll be interested to see if we get Terwilliger back in once the serve is over with.
Would not surprise me at all here as the Sting try and rally, but that ball punched by Kiana Miller, and the 4th-year student out of Toronto gets a little too much of that. And we are tied here at 8 for Vandenheuvel, trying to reward her coach as he put her in this game for this moment to serve, and Vandenheuvel gets that ball safely over the net. And the Lords take advantage of a bit of a miscue there by Seneca, and they jump back out in front here. 9-8 the score. Vandenheuvel continues to be on serve as she sends this ball hard, high, and over. Dug out there by Seneca, but we've
directly
seen
at their libero.
Yeah, Amy Savayeth, player we both circled heading into this game, unable to find her groove so far here early, John, as she sends another ball high and long. And Vandenheuvel continues to be on serve, and she is peppering the libero for the Sting, number 13, Sierra Jennings.
Yeah, she's definitely picked out her target, and she's going after her with everything she's got.
Yeah, that's this will be the 5th serve in a row here for Vandenheuvel.
As the Lords are taking the lead now, 9-8.
And they extend this lead, Johnny. And Vandenheuvel will be interested to see what she does here. And right back at Jennings. So obviously they've seen something. They like that matchup as Johansson sends that ball down and hits the floor right in front of Lauren Watts. As the Lords, after giving up a run of points, have really stepped up here off the hand of Vandenheuvel and her serve, forcing the Sting to call their first time out of the set, down by 4. 12-8 the score here with the Lords in the lead.
Coach Clark looking like a genius, man, putting Vandenheuvel in there for Terwilliger's serve. She's like you said, she's had 5 or 6 straight points now. So controlling that serve key in this game, and they're proving it right now. Seneca has now taken their 3rd straight timeout to the Lords, 0 taken so far.
Yeah, when you're halfway through the 2nd set and you haven't had to call a timeout yet, John, in the sport of volleyball, that is a very good sign. And when you can be the one forcing, the other team to call their timeout and get them on the defensive and get them trying to make adjustments instead of just playing their game, that's when you really have an opportunity to take advantage here. And if they could win this set, they will put a commanding 2-0 lead into this game in the OCAA, both men's and women's volleyball. It is best of 5 sets. First 4 going first to 25, must win by 2. The 3rd and 5th and final set, if we need it, is only to 15. You must win by 2. However, as Vanden Heuvel sends that ball over right back at Jennings, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And once again, the Lords take another point as Seneca sends that ball just long of the near touchline to us here in the Kate Burness Media Gondola.
How you doing, Kate?
Saw her back on SportsCenter this morning with Natasha. They were doing a hell of a job. So they continue to do excellent work at SportsCenter. And a big block there by the Lords. Unfortunately for Romaine, who went up and with a nice effort there. Unfortunately for Megan Romaine, that ball just hits off the side of her arm and out of bounds. And this reign of Vanden Heuvel is over as Seneca has the ball back on serve. That ball sent over. Johansson bumps it up. Back to Johansson as she sends a hard spike over. Dug out by Seneca. Frazier to Romaine. Romaine off the hand of Cassidy Nicholson-Clark. And that ball touches a Sting player, and Lords will go back on serve. Vanden Heuvel stays in the game. Johansson now with the ball. 14-9 the score. Johansson sends this ball over. Dug out by Saveath. And a nice dig there by Romaine. Vanden Heuvel sends it over to Raymond, but unable to get it over there as Vanden Heuvel taps her chest and says, "My bad," as Raymond was unable to get that ball over the net. And Vanden Heuvel knows that that was her fault on the bad setup. But the Lords take advantage of a net violation, and Johansson continues on serve. Johansson sends that over the net. Romaine smacks it down. Nicholson-Clark looked like a double touch, but no whistle. And Raymond just gets that ball over.
It's not a double touch because she went for the block. And a block is not counted as a touch, so she was allowed to come down and strike it.
Thanks, Johnny. That's what two-man crew here for the Durham Lords Video Network. I feel like I should look it up and so I don't keep butchering that, but
oh man, you keep adding names to it, and then they'll have more and more to call themselves.
Yeah. Our boys Chris and Scott will love it, as they have left me signed in on the YouTube channel, which is probably a mistake on their part, as I have complete control of the official YouTube channel of the Durham College Athletics, the Durham Lords Network.
Want to do me a favor and throw some Jake and John shows up there, maybe?
Throw anything we can, as we're all about the self-promotion here, as Nicholson-Clark makes a nice play. As the Stinger going to make a couple substitutions. Oh, just the one. There was a couple players standing by the sub area. And number 8, Sophia, excuse me, I have this, Nico Lulius subs in for the Sting.
It'd be interesting to see if the Lords continue to go after the libero of the Sting, or if that was just a Vanden Heuvel thing.
Yeah, Sierra Jennings certainly was picked on there heavily by Vanden Heuvel. Tough to tell if Vanden Heuvel was aiming at her, which I assume she was, or if she was just hitting the ball into the middle of the court where Jennings was standing. But I think we've seen enough of Vanden Heuvel to know on serve she's pretty accurate with that ball. And the Lords were certainly picking on Jennings. And it worked out for them as they had a nice little run there with Vanden Heuvel on serve.
And a nice bump by the scorer's table to save his face.
Getting involved in the game any way he can down there. Zach, stoic as ever, didn't even look up from the red laptop. As As we see him over there and the rest of this Durham College game day staff. Romaine sets this ball for Johansson. Johansson gets it through the double block, and that ball finds a way to hit the floor on the Sting side, as Johansson just too strong there.
Definitely had some mustard on that one, Joey.
And Jessica Johansson continues to impress here early. And she was a key part of that team last year that went 18-0, a veteran-laden group. Johansson made herself invaluable, and it was very tough for Coach Clark to take her out of the lineup. She's certainly left off right, or started right where she left off this year, as she's become a go-to player for this Lords team.
It's going to be interesting to see if the Lords can take advantage of all of the errors that the Sting are providing. It's been a little bit back and forth for the last 5 points or so, but if the Lords can get control of another serve like Van den Heuvel did, then they'll be able to control this game, because they're only 7 points away from the set victory.
As that's Raymond there, spiking that ball with emphasis. So Libero comes back in for the Sting. Raymond will have the serve for the Lords. 19-14 the score here in the second set. Raymond sends that ball over. It was going to Jennings, but Saveith stepped in front of her there. Frazier gets a fingertip on that block. Raymond to Johansson, gets it over, but Johansson gets a little too much on that, and that ball goes wide over. She just tried to control a scramble play there, but unable to make a good play with it there. And the Lords lead cut to 4 here with the Sting on serve. That is Boyd sending it over. Johansson, that ball goes wide again, and Johansson on back-to-back plays going just long. And this Lords lead is now cut to 3.
Yeah, she's getting it on the fat part of her palm, and she's not getting high enough. The first one, she didn't jump at all, and the second one, she only got a couple inches off.
So Lords try and recover here as that ball is sent over by Boyd. Romaine sets it there. And a nice little cheeky play from Alexa Armstrong there, as she just leaps up at 6'2" and tips that ball over the net.
Armstrong serve as well.
5 points away from a second set victory here, as that ball looked like it might have been going out of bounds, but it was played by Saveith. And another miscommunication there by the Sting, as that ball drops right in front of Kiana Miller.
I'm glad you said it, Joey. I looked a little strange at it, and I was like, well, that was going long. Thanks for taking that one. And then another miscommunication between the Sting as they looked to fake out, but there was no one there for the fake out.
And a nice play there by the Lords, John, as Armstrong dug a tough spike out to get the ball up, and Durham rallies and recovers to take the point, as all of a sudden a couple quick points for the Lords, and they have a 6-point lead here, 3 away from taking this second set, as the score is 22-16 over the Sting.
Coach Clark, I believe, is talking about those long returns, and I think he's saying that if you want to go up high like that, you gotta make sure you get a high arc on it so it tumbles down. That's just me trying to read with hand motions.
Reading body language from up here in the stands. I like it, Johnny. I agree. That's kind of what it looked like he was saying there, just trying to get a little bit of spin on the ball and getting it to drop down. As if you talk to anybody who plays volleyball, just that amount of spin they can get on it, a little bit of top spin, and that ball will drop just enough to land inbounds here. As Armstrong's going to have the serve for the Lords as we are coming out of that timeout.
And the 5th-year player, Aaron Marshall, is in the game.
The only 5th-year player for the Lords, the Aurelia, Ontario native, 6'1", as a little bit of height comes in here.
Great casino out that way. I don't know if you know about it.
I've never been to the Aurelia Casino, Johnny. You've lost some money there in the past?
Lost some, won some, left mad, left happy. But that's the way with the casino, right?
Hey, they don't have so many because everybody's winning, that's for sure. There's a nice play there off the hand of Amy Saveith, who's corrected her unforced errors from earlier. A couple balls sent long by her earlier in this set. She takes advantage of a nice play there and hammers it past the Lords to give the Sting serve here. Raymond sends that ball over. Johansson with a hard smash there. And Johansson continues to impress as she smokes that ball off the hand of Sabaeth.
And look who's serving. Vanden Heuvel again.
Vanden Heuvel.
See if she can get the set here.
Right back at Jennings again. Sabaeth tries to send that ball, but Raymond with a nice dig out there.
Oh, and a nice save.
And Frazier just got to send this ball over, and she does. Sting on the attack. Sabaeth, that ball is blocked there. Vanden Heuvel gets under it. Johansson just has to get this ball over and unable to do it there, as it was not the best setup from Erin Marshall.
Yeah, they're so used to when they dig it out, get it towards their teammate, and that's exactly what she did. And she needed to, and here I am pantomiming like people can see us, but what she needed to do is she needed to change the angle and go on the opposite side to get it over the net.
Yeah, she just was unable to get it over there. Lords still 1 point away as Johansson sends that ball over. Seneca trying to stay in it here. Sabaeth tips that ball over, but Frazier gets low to dig it out. Blocked down there, and a nice play by number 11, Crystalline O'Donnell, third-year player out of Scarborough. First time we're saying O'Donnell's name all night. She comes up big there, keeping the Lords from taking this second set. Miller on serve. Miller sends a hard one into the net, and just like that,
unforced error ends the set for him.
The Lords take this set 25-19 as they continue a strong performance here. Now up 2 sets to nothing over the Sting.
Things are trending in the right direction for our Durham Lords women's team, Joey. And there's another women's team coming up that you have the call of. So what's going on with the Ridgebacks?
Ridgebacks have a busy weekend on the road this weekend, Johnny. They have been playing well of late. I haven't seen them play. They've been on the road last couple games. Last time they were at home, they won a 3-2 overtime thriller against Nipissing. Unfortunately, their scoring woes continue. Coach Caruana has changed up the lines the last little bit, but they lost 3-2 to Windsor on the 10th, and then they lost 3-1 at Western. Western, always a very good team. They are in Queens on Saturday, and they will be back home at the Dog Pound on the 24th at a rare 11:30 a.m. start time, as they are currently 4-5 on the year and look to rebound. But
you must be looking forward to that 11:30 game.
11:30 game is going to be weird, but it's going to be fun. It's I don't mind getting out early on a Friday, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a strange time to start a hockey game, but you can't complain.
I'm sure there's a promotion of some sort, but I'm just the broadcaster. I'm not privy to everything going on at the Lords. Chris Cameron and Scott Dennis are fearless leaders here at Durham College and UOIT Athletics. Could probably tell you, as we are 1 minute away from this third set. Don't go anywhere. If the Lords come out victorious here in this third and final set, then the men's game in the second half of this doubleheader will start on time at 8 o'clock is our scheduled tip-off. Men's team also taking on the Seneca Sting as they look to continue their strong start to the season as well. Me and John will be here for that game, and we will be back tomorrow for a little women's volleyball action, as the Lords will take on the St. Lawrence Vikings right here at the CRWC, the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center. They take on the St. Lawrence Vikings tomorrow night. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m.
Now, do we have a men's game as well, or is it just a women's? No,
just a women's game. We got a rare solo match.
It'll be a nice an early night for us as well then.
Hey, we can get out on a Friday. It's not bad. We'll be back Oh, no weekend games. I thought there was a Saturday game for some reason, John, but apparently not, as Alexa Armstrong gets the first point for the Lords.
The Lords looking to start this one off the same way they started off the first set and take a commanding lead. Maybe force Seneca to take their 5th straight timeout in this game.
2 sets, no timeouts for the Lords, as you point out, John. Seneca gets the point there. There's a couple fans in the stands coming down to get themselves a Durham dog. As our excellent concession stand rolls on just below us here at the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center at the Durham campus in North Oshawa, just off of Simcoe.
I look down there and I think Durham dog, and then I look at it and I'm like, oh, that looks like 7-Eleven hot dogs down there. I don't know.
They're on the spinner.
Yeah.
They'll be warm at least. That's all we can say. At least you can't screw up cooking a hot dog, Johnny. They're already cooked. I've seen people eat raw, cold hot dogs before.
Ugh.
So
Demons, I tell you, they're demons.
yeah, we stopped hanging out after that, but I've seen it live in person, and it was one of the scariest things I've ever seen, especially when a barbecue's on right there. But to each his own, I guess, as the Lords try and cut this early Seneca lead. They lead 4-1 here in this 3rd set, trying to put a push on Are the Sting, trying not to fall in straight sets here. And you expect this from the Sting, John. I've been kind of disappointed in their pushback all night long. You don't become the number 10 ranked team in the province without having a little bit of pushback, and they really haven't shown that type of resiliency.
The Lords are showing an interesting setup here, as it's only 2 back to receive the serve. It worked out for him there, but it's just interesting to see because you're opening up a lot of space for the serve to come in.
Yeah, a little bit of a 4-2 setup there. John, 4 players up front, 2 in the back. Obviously, Coach Clark is comfortable with his 2 returners. I believe it was Joe Henson and Marshall back there. As Durham tries to get this ball over, Frazier has to get it over there. Surveith sets, and Miller just taps it over as they couldn't get the spike ready. As Johansson smashes that ball over.
Heads up, boys.
Deflects off a Sting player and right into the Durham College game day staff area there. Everybody hard at work, barely paying attention to the ball, as it looks like that was an ice cap that almost went flying.
Yeah, they only pay us to pay attention. They pay them to write down stats, I guess.
Well, I hope they're paying attention down there. It'd be nice to get stats. We sometimes get stats in basketball. We don't get very many volleyball live up-to-date stats. There's a lot going on and a lot of work to do as Raymond sends that ball over. But I think they should do it.
I blame Zach.
Yeah, let's blame Zach. If the Leafs can hire him, he can figure out how to get us stats during the set breaks, I think. But that is way too much to ask for a bunch of on-strike college students.
No, we're not on strike.
I don't know. I feel like I'm on strike, John. I don't know. I'm just not here. Drove into campus today for the first time since we did the volleyball games last week.
Yeah, it's strange not being on campus that much.
But all of my friends from UOIT just rave about how great the Tim Hortons line is these days.
Oh, it's fantastic. I was in the Tim Hortons line on Monday morning and got my honey lemon tea in record time. The Lords are looking to win this 3rd and hopefully final set and to sweep the Sting for the 3rd straight time.
As Raymond's really been able to put some pressure on here on her serve, taking over down 5-3. And all of a sudden the Lords are up here 7-5 over the Sting. Raymond on serve. Sarah Raymond with the knee brace on her left knee from way beyond the red back line, as we've seen her do so many times here today and this season. Comfortable serving from 12 feet beyond the back line. That ball not high enough as it hits the net. Lords lead 7-6. Joey Chapman, John Lodge with you here at the CRWC.
Yeah, I think that has to do with wanting to get a lot of power on it, but not wanting to send it long, right? So she stands far back and hopefully she hopes to get it in. And not surprisingly, another random sports update here, as I have gotten an update on my iPad that Mighty Mouse has won the AL MVP. Jose Altuve is the MVP of the American League, as he should be.
Yeah, probably well deserved. Aaron Judge was right there, but a rookie, and he wasn't as consistent as Altuve all year long. We saw that big stretch from Judge where he didn't do anything through August, really stepped up in October. And Altuve and his World Series ring comes back with an MVP. Not a bad year for...
Definitely not a bad year at all, especially for a guy who was undrafted and unwanted by so many people.
Yeah, he's going to be doing okay in Houston, that's for sure. As I'm looking at a Leafs update here from New Jersey. Hyman Marlowe Brown is going to be your top line tonight. Komarov, Kadri, Nylander, JVR, Bozak, Marner, and Soshnikov gets his debut as a Maple Leaf in this 17-18 season on the fourth line on the right side of Matt Moore.
Dominic
Moore. Matt Moore was his brother.
And Dominic Moore, yeah. I'm happy because I took Soshnikov in daily fantasy today.
Did you?
Anticipating that they would get the 14-point getter in the AHL into the lineup to maybe see if he is what everyone else thinks he is down in that American League. He's never been a point-a-game player, but he's been dominating that American League this year, so it'll be interesting to see if he's going to be a better option and which one's going to be traded. Is it going to be Levo? Is it going to be Soshnikov? Or, hey, maybe it's Komarov?
Lots of different options for the Maple Leafs, but right now all of Leaf Nation just waiting for Austin Matthews to get back and healthy, as he's going to miss his fourth straight tonight. We heard Soshnikov had a clause in his contract a few weeks ago. Elliot Freeman reporting that he must be in the NHL by a certain point or his contract would be null and void and he could go back to the KHL. Clearly,
they can't send him back down at all anymore either.
So he is up with the big club for now, and the Maple Leafs will continue to look to add on their strong start of the season, taking on a team that already beat them, the New Jersey Devils. But back to the volleyball action here as Terwilliger sends that ball down with emphasis to give the Lords an 11-10 lead here in this third set. Terwilliger didn't see the court much in the second set, but has come out here early in this third and spikes with emphasis and then gets the serve as that ball is sent way too hard there by Amy Savaeth. Again, so we've said that a lot. Either Savaeth is launching them right on the ground or they're going wide, as she's continued to struggle with her range all night long, and is a big reason the Lords are up 2-0 here.
A nice dig there by Frazier.
Johansson just sends that ball over, tipped up in the air by the Sting. As Frazier with a bit of a miscue there.
No, they were going to let it go. They were going to let it go, and then Frazier realized at the last second that was going to land in, so she had to make an attempt.
Yeah, that was certainly a close one there. But Seneca gets the ball back, and it will be Miller on the serve.
Lords are looking to end this match right now.
Miller tries to bump it from beyond the back line and doesn't nearly get enough of that ball, John.
No, not at all. I mean, that was a low line drive under the net. Bad look there. As we have, pardon me,
it's Johansson serving the ball over for the Lords. And a hard spike there was O'Donnell, but the Lords recover. Miller dive, tries to set it up. And a big block there at the net as the Lords doing good work here at the net.
Could have sworn that last one hit the floor.
Bonchef in the game for the first time all match, and she sends that one down, punishing Miller there. Kiana Miller with no answer for the big spike from Bonchef, as she gets her name said quickly after checking into this match. And she's doing a good job there in front of the net. She may or may not have hit me with a ball in warm-up, but we will not hold that against her.
I think that should add extra points, actually.
As the Lords take a 2-point lead here, 14-12 the score, up 2-0 over the number 10 ranked Seneca Sting. Savea sends that ball into the net as her night continues to be a disappointing one, as the top player for the Seneca Sting has been unable to find her groove all game long and sends that ball flat-footedly into the net. Checking in for the Lords, excuse me, Johnny, is number 9, Jokana Babb, getting her first action of the game. Jonika, excuse me.
Yeah, we've got another Seneca timeout here as the 5th in a row for the Sting. They're down by 3 points here midway through the 3rd set. And Savea, she's had a hard night, man. It seems that when the bad luck piles up and piles up, it just keeps adding and mounting. And she's her own worst critic at this point. And it almost seems like she's trying to make some in-game changes, and none of them are working for her. She's paying too much attention. At that point, most coaches will tell you, forget about it, stop thinking, just play.
Yeah, Savea 4th in the OCAA with points coming into this game with 67, leading her team by far. And just a bunch of unforced errors here so far in the game. She's 2nd in the entire OUA with kills coming into this at 59, as she's a dangerous player when on, but tonight has not been her night here at the CRWC as she continues her unforced errors. Janika sends this ball into the net as off the serve, or off the timeout. She struggles on her first serve of the game.
And look to the line judge or the bench like it was anybody else's fault but her own. That was just a miscue and trying to send it too light. Got the top of the net, bounced right back.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Babb as she comes off immediately as Frazier subs in for her. Bonchef, nice little tip over the net here. Seneca, that ball was tipped in front. Johansson. Bonchef, that ball was blocked and lands right in front of Terwilliger. Tough play for her as Seneca gets the point and cuts the lead down to 1. As they're going to have a substitution here as Sofia Nicoloulis comes into the match. And I apologize, Sofia, for just butchering your name there.
Libero, nowhere to be found for Seneca. Strange, I haven't seen one for a while.
No libero.
Not even on the bench.
Nobody on the bench, yeah, wearing that white jersey. As there must have been an injury we did not see, Johnny. And
definitely interesting. I hope it's not an injury. I hope it's just a coach's choice to not play the libero. And
oh, I see her, number 13. She's over there. Excuse me, that is Sierra Jennings, number 13. She is switched out of the libero jersey and is just in a regular black jersey, but she is on the bench. So Coach Shane Christopher, the head coach of the Seneca Sting, deciding to go without a libero here in this 3rd set. And it seems to be working so far, as this has been the most competitive set for the Sting. But they send that ball over and long, down by only 3, 17-14 the score here in Durham, with a chance to close out the match.
Megan Romaine with the serve.
And Romaine, who's changed her hair since last game, gave me a little bit of trouble early on. But she has been solid all game long as that ball almost drops in front of Johansson. A bit of miscommunication with her and Terwilliger there. Romaine tried to go, almost went right into the referee trying to dig that ball out of a tough spot. And unfortunately for the Lords, Seneca will get the serve back. O'Donnell has the ball for the Sting. O'Donnell sends this ball over the net right in front of Frazier on a good serve. Frazier tried to get under it, but unable to do so there.
Yeah, they noticed, Seneca noticed she was playing back a little bit, so they just popped it right in front of her, and you can say lucky serve or not, but it's definitely nice either way.
As we continue to see this interesting formation from Coach Clark and the Lords, only 2 players really back to return the serve. Now it is Frazier and Johansson, as Bonchev crushes that ball over, deflected by the Sting. Return there as Frazier gets one hand on it. Romaine deflects for Terwilliger.
Frazier again, but they're calling the point for the Seneca
I don't
Sting.
think that ball went over the net, as they're going to call 4 touches there on the Lords, John, as the official claiming that ball never cleared the net. And
Coach Clark has something to say to the referee here, something about not playing baseball.
Easy to smile about a call like that when you're up 2-0, John, but certainly not a play Coach Clark would like to see, as the Lords have fallen behind here in this third set, 18-17. And the first time all match long, John, that the Seneca Sting have led late in the set.
Be interesting to see if we see the first time out here taken by Coach Clark.
The ball sent over and long, way over the head of Frazier. As she watches that ball sail over her head and out of bounds. 18 all the score. Bonchef sends that ball over. Saveath for Miller, and Miller crushes that down. Frazier tried to dig it out, but unable to get any help there, as the Lords have a bit of a fight here to close out this game. You wouldn't expect anything less from the 10th ranked team in the province, John.
Yeah, you talked about it, Joey, the pushback of the Seneca Sting team. We didn't see it really in the first two sets, but you're seeing it now in the third set.
For sure, as they try and get this ball over, and a miscommunication there, as 11 and 12, O'Donnell and Boyd both go up to hit that ball. They collide and send that ball into the net.
Someone call air traffic control.
Got a call for the ball, John. It's the name of the game, as the Lords back on serve. Armstrong, but she gets too much of that. And the back and forth continues here. 20-19 the score in favor of the visiting Sting, as they try and make a game out of this here. Back on serve. This ball is sent over. Frazier gets under it for the bump. Romaine sets for Terwilliger, and Terwilliger makes no mistake on that, getting that ball over the net and down. And she will have serve here, tied at 20 in this third set. Lords up 2-0.
Talking about Armstrong's last serve, when you're as big and strong as she is at 6'2", you can't hit the ball in the same manner as the smaller teammates do, because you're just putting way too much power on it.
And the Lords, unfortunate bounce there for Johansson, as she gets up for that block. And the Lords
take their first time out.
As Chris Cameron confused me there for a second, but yeah, that is the Lords' first time out of the entire match. Down 21-20 here, John, and have struggled to do what they did so well in the first and second sets and get a string of points together on serve and run away with the set.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the Lords can push back here coming out of this timeout. Coach Clark gets them to stop thinking about the win, just think about the points. Go rally by rally. Don't worry about the sweep at this point, because you're down a point with 4 to go till set's over. Yeah, just play your game, play a strong game that you've been playing the last couple sets, and take this one down, sweep this team, and go get some water.
And they will try and do just that here, John. On serve for the Sting, Kiana Miller. As she tries to give her team some life here, as this game is far from over. Bonchef, Romaine with a nice touch play at the net there. It looked like she was going to go for the set, but faked it and just tips that ball over. And Megan Romaine gives the Lords back serve here, tied at 21. And Johansson now will serve for the Lords. Johansson sends this ball over the net. And it is sent over, deflected there in front. Romaine for Bonchef. Bonchef has to get it over, and she does, as they continue to pick on Amy Saveath. And the Lords take advantage there, as they're unable to return it are the Sting. 22-21 now the score. Johansson 3 points away from serving for this match. Johansson sends this ball over the net, just over the net, excuse me.
Well, it worked out for him that time, man.
It worked out for me as well, as I was confident that she was going to get that ball over, and she did, just off the deflection, forcing Seneca to call their timeout now here, with the Lords ahead 23-21. That is the final timeout here for the Sting in this set.
Yeah, hopefully it's the final timeout of the game or the match as well, because it's nice to see, like I had said, coming out of that last timeout, just play your game, calm down, get out of your own head. You know how to play, stop overthinking it.
Coming up for the Durham Lords, they do not play at home
until George Brown.
Yeah, for quite a while, till the November 28th. They're on the road at Algonquin at La Cite, or La City. La Cite, I want to go with La Cite, but my French is not great, John. As Johansson sends this ball over the net for the Lords. And lots of contact with the post net area, but the officials say no. And it's 23-22 in favor of the Lords, but Sting have the ball. Saveath with it here.
Let's see if she can get the serve in bounds or if it's another unforced error.
As we have all the makings of a very good third set here. John Lodge, Joey Chapman with you, as Romaine trying to plead her case to the official, who's doing a very good job at getting down and explaining what the call was, and players always appreciate that. Saveath now will serve. She takes a deep breath here, has to be a good one. That ball gets over, Frazier gets under it. Romaine sends it to Bonchief. It was blocked in front there by Singh. Romaine, again, a couple good setups there by Romaine. This ball has to go over. Bonchief just doesn't get enough of it as she tries just to tip the ball over. Unable to do so there, and we are tied up at 23s.
Yeah, that's another one where she was trying to think too much and just didn't get enough on the ball. Great serve, though, there by Saveath. Got to give her props because she's been putting way too much power on it. And as we can see, she has now taken it down quite a few notches.
Bonchief.
Oh, I don't know about that call, Joey. I don't like that call there by the judge.
That was awfully close. But the Lords forced to call their timeout there, as it looked like it might have been out there to us. But the linesman says no, as that ball is deemed to have just touched the near sideline. And the Lords, trailing 24-23, are forced to call a timeout here, as they are 1 point away from losing this third set. Be interesting to see what Coach Clark does. He has a couple players in this game on the court right now who did not start for him, in Jonika Babb and Althea Bonchef, two players who haven't seen a lot of playing time all season long out here, and he's going to continue to ride with them up 2 sets. Even though players like Raymond and Armstrong, Nicholson Clark, all sitting on the bench, watching as the Lords have battled here to close out the match, as Saveath continues to be on serve. Saveath, deep breath, sends this ball high and over. Johansson digs it out. Bonchef has to get it over. She does. Seneca tries to return that ball hard into the net, and that will be Durham point, tied at 24 here.
And we're going to go to extra points in this one.
For sure, John. Have to win by 2. As I mentioned earlier, Alexa Armstrong will come in for Devin Frazier, and Babb tries to get this serve over, unable to do so on her first attempt, but she gets it there. Terwilliger sets it for Romaine. Armstrong gets that over, as Romaine and Armstrong continue to hook up here in this game. Romaine for Armstrong. Armstrong doesn't get a lot of it, but a nice play there by Kristlyn O'Donnell, getting up and batting that ball down, as she and her Seneca Sting teammates take a 25-24 lead, and will serve for the set with Lauren Watt with the ball in her hand. She sends that ball over. Frazier digs it out. Romaine to Bonchief. Bonchief sends that over, but Miller digs it out. Seneca tries to regroup as that ball has to go over. Terwilliger to Romaine to Bonchef as she gets it over again. As a big rally here, and that ball lands in bounds off a nice play from Kristlyn O'Donnell, and that's gonna be the set, as Seneca takes this one 26-24.
And we're going to a 4th set here. Something that we haven't done yet together, Joey.
First time in our broadcasts for both men's and women's volleyball that we're going to see a 4th set, as a nice effort there from Seneca to not roll over and die and really battle back there. A gritty set. A couple
multiple times.
Yeah. Couple changes from Coach Shane Christopher, mainly taking out the libero.
Yeah, for good.
Yeah, Sierra Jennings.
We'll see if she makes a comeback now, but I don't know.
We haven't seen much of her since she took off that libero jersey. An interesting play by the coach, and it pays off from there as his team battles back there to win that third set.
I think you could say the Lords let that one go on that one multiple occasions. Got a little bit cocky maybe about having a 2-set-to-none lead. Played a little bit back more than they should have, and they definitely need to come back in this fourth set here and put them away. It'll be interesting to see if they have a lot of that same fire they had in the first 2 sets. Didn't really see it in the third set.
I was surprised, John. I mentioned it just near the end of that third set, of just the way he took out players like Armstrong, Vanden Heuvel, Nicholson Clark, Sarah Raymond, players who played so well in the first 2 sets, didn't see a lot of floor time in that third set, and the Lords dropping that one. And it'll be interesting to see what Coach Clark wants to do here, if he's going to go back to his starters and ride them in this fourth set, or if he's going to continue to let some of these players like Bonchef, like Bab, get experience on the court in these crucial times, as that's part of the juggling that a head coach has to do, when to get first-year players experience and when to just sit players to the bench who don't have it and just play your best 6 or 7. And obviously Coach Clark decided experience was the name of the game in that third set, which is very understandable when you're up 2-0. But now that they've dropped one, what will Coach Clark and the Lords do in this third set? What will he come out with? And it looks like Bonchef's gonna stay on the court. Raymond continues to stand on the sideline.
I'd like to utilize Vanden Heuvel some more, but she's standing over there on the sideline with a sweater on, so don't know how much more. As I say that, she seems to be taking it off, so it'll be hopefully we can get her in there for some serves, because she controlled her service very well.
Way back in that first set, Vanden Heuvel was a key factor. Oh, that might have been the second set.
I believe that was the second set.
They were on. Excuse me. They were on our right, your right, if you're watching on the broadcast, serving right to left as they are going to be in this fourth set. Joey Chapman, John Lodge with you here from the CRWC. Durham Lords lead the Seneca Sting 2-1 as the Sting won that third set 26-24. Romaine starts this fourth set off strong for the Lords, getting one of the first aces for either team. It might be the first ace the entire match, John. I can't recall seeing another one. As Romaine starts out strong here for the Lords. That ball is sent high up by Watt. Sting have to get this ball over, and they do. Romaine sets for Terwilliger. Terwilliger sends it hard down, but Saveath gets under it. Ball sent over by the Sting. Frazier for Romaine. Romaine to Bonchef, and Bonchef nicks the line.
To that wide open spot in the defense, man, and that's deadly. We talked about it before. If you got to make sure you don't get shifted to one side of the court, because the other team will definitely take advantage.
Yeah, I've mentioned Bonchef's name a lot since she's come in. She's certainly not have been a liability. She missed her first spike attempt, but has been strong ever since. As she takes advantage there, almost right back to the same spot in front of Kiana Miller on the far touchline, and Bonchef is punishing the far side of the court with those spikes, and Romaine stays on serve, but that one just long, as that was very, very close to touching that back line, John, but the back official says no, and the Lords lose their first point of the match, 3-1 now, the score.
The more I call these games, the more I know I would be a horrible line judge.
Oh, me too. I couldn't do it. I would want the Wimbledon technology, or I guess not just Wimbledon. All you see it in tennis, where you just get the video replay.
Yeah, the Hawkeye technology.
Yeah, I love it. And that ball goes long there. As that was Nicole Boyd saying "my bad" to her Seneca Sting teammates. As that ball sent long, 4-1 the score here for the Lords. Bonchief will serve. She sends that ball just over. A diving Saveath gets her hand on that. But that ball on a nice play there, really. That's sometimes what just happens in volleyball is Alexa Armstrong goes up the block, it gets a piece of it, but it lands just outside the touch zone. And Seneca continues to be on serve here. A dive by Bonchief to get that ball up. Terwilliger sends that over. Seneca trying to set it up here. Saveath just taps it over. Romaine for Terwilliger. Terwilliger goes far side, and a nice play there by Butcher to get the ball. There's a good rally going here. Frazier to Bonchef. This ball has to go over, and it does, but wide. As Bonchef just misses the near side touchline, and the Lords lead now just one, as Butcher will serve for the Sting. Another first-year player in this game out of Ajax. Ooh, as Frazier,
a lovely effort there by
that's Johansson.
By Johansson there, but man, I always cringe when I see players diving into the stands. Not the most comfortable landing, I would assume.
A head-first dive into the bleachers here at the CRWC would not be fun, but Johansson going all out for that ball, just unable to get it. As we are tied here at 4s, Seneca sends this ball over. Frazier bumps it out for Terwilliger. Terwilliger sends it down with emphasis. Going cross court as they've done a couple times here in this set, John, and the Lords regain the lead here.
I love to see that emotion out of Terwilliger. She must have had a frustrating set last set, and not being able to close it out in straight sets victory is definitely difficult. But yeah, great to see that kind of emotion and energy.
As Miller gets under that one there and finds the back corner, finding some open space. As this was the Seneca Sting team we came in here expecting to see, John.
Yeah, they just showed up a little bit late. They didn't play the first two sets very well, but their third and now the fourth set have definitely been majority Seneca pressure.
Their only losses on the year coming to Loyalist and Algonquin, the number 4 and 8 teams in the province respectively, and losing both of those games by a score of 3-1, doing what the Lords couldn't do and win a set on Loyalist. And they've really rallied here after falling down 2-0. But they're down 7-5 here in this fourth set, and they cannot afford to take the gas off the pedal here, or pedal off the gas. Excuse me.
Easy for you to say,
yeah.
eh?
It's only game 1 of the doubleheader. I'm sure we'll have a couple more gaps like that as we continue. And the Lords take advantage of a Nicole Boyd miscue there.
You know what I think happened there is, I don't know who that was who jumped up for the Lords, but she got in the peripheral vision of Taylor Butcher of the Sting and kind of psyched her out a little bit.
It's very possible, John. Sometimes there's lots of bodies flying in front of the net, and it can be very confusing and difficult to read what is going on. See that a lot in volleyball, especially in the men's game. We see a lot of double blocks, a lot of double fake spike attempts, lots of bodies going up in front of the net. Can certainly cause confusion and get in the way of sight lines, as Terwilliger is going to send this ball over for the Lords. Dropped right mid-court, and a nice block there by Johansson, but that ball, unfortunately for her, just lands out of bounds. But she's had some bad ball luck here so far tonight during doing those blocks, John, as that's not the first time where she's been unfortunate and the ball's landed out of bounds off her arms. But
yeah, unfortunately, you really don't know where those are going to go, right? You just get your hands up there and hope for the best.
She's doing a good job at getting her hands on the ball and getting involved. And so you can't fault her for that. Sometimes it just deflects the wrong way.
Miscue there by the Lords.
No, sorry, Johnny, that ball landed out of bounds in front of the official. It's tough to see from up here in the Cape Burness Media gondola. But that ball did land out of bounds, and the Lords will take the points as they have extended this lead to 5. But we know now that Seneca will not go away lightly, as they took a 5-point lead from the Lords away from them in that third set.
At least once, if not twice. So
come back and win. So
it's going to be important for the Lords to remain strong and not get lackadaisical. Play strong the whole game.
100%, John. We were mentioning back in that third set the upcoming schedule for the Lords at Algonquin on the 25th, at Lassite on the 26th, and back here at the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center on Tuesday, November 28th. That is a 6 p.m. first serve. Yours truly and John Lodge will be there.
George Brown, the Adidas Cup champions in the men's tournament to be at the start of the year here. So it's going to be interesting to see both those games and be able. It's a measuring stick game, at least for the men's side.
For sure. George Brown 0-4 on the year, have struggled, have not won a set, but they have, as this Seneca Sting team blew them out 3-0 when they played on Wednesday, November the 8th. And what was a solid game for the Sting. 25-16, 25-16, 25-15 were the scores. And George Brown maybe not as strong on the women's side as they are on the men's, as they have a minus .037 hitting percentage on the year, which is just not a recipe for success in the game of volleyball.
Not at all.
As they currently sit dead last in the East Region standings, tied with Lassite as the only teams not to win a game. Lassite has a match, excuse me. Lassite does have 2 games won or sets won, but have not won a match all year long.
On the men's side for George Brown there, Joey, they're not much better than Durham. They're definitely not tops in the conference or overall, as Georgian holds that right. So it should be a competitive matchup, I think, both all the way around. At least you would hope so, because it makes our job more interesting, right?
For sure. The Durham's men's team was very impressive just last week when they defeated Loyalist in straight sets. And they will look to continue that here in game 2 of this doubleheader. That will come. Tip-off is set for 8 o'clock. Our first serve is set for 8 o'clock. But that is all dependent on what happens here in this game, as the Stinger are going to get called here for a 4 touches. And that ball's going to be a Lord's serve.
Not very often you see a team with a negative hitting percentage.
Yeah, that's tough to do, Johnny. We haven't been doing volleyball for too long, but it's the first negative percentage I've seen, as they have struggled all season long. This ball sent over by Romaine. Up 13-6 here are the Lords. Bonchief sends that hard.
Heads up, DJ.
At Miller, as Chris Cameron gets up for the first time in an hour to get that ball.
He'll complain about that later.
That is too much work for the man in the white shirt, as for some reason he gets fancier gear than all of us here, as that ball is sent long by the Lords.
Notice the fancy haircut, too.
Oh, did he? Did he get a haircut or two?
Oh, yeah. Definitely got a trim.
Getting fancy now. As the Lords lead is 5 over the Sting. Long serve there by O'Donnell from well back. And Bonchief crushes that ball down and hard as that finds the floor on the Sting side.
That was actually Terwilliger.
Oh, excuse me, Terwilliger. Number 10, Madison Terwilliger. Allison Terwilliger. As Bonchief sends that ball over. And a nice play there by Johansson, not wasting any time.
Yeah, everybody on the Sting side moved up, and she had so much space, and she used it, man. That was nice.
Yeah, it looked for a second like she might try and set one of her teammates up, but thought better of that and just sends it down.
And an ace.
Yeah, as the Sting watched that ball off the hand of Bonchief hit the ground. 17-9 the score, as they are continuingly playing strong here in this 4th set. As Bonchief sends this ball over right at Jennings. Excuse me, that's not Jennings, that's number 12, Boyd.
7-point lead now for the Durham Lords. Let's see if they can close this one out here, man. Get their serve back.
Butcher on serve for the Sting. Sting have one timeout remaining. The Lords have both of them here in this fourth set. Romaine to Johansson. Johansson off the arm of Amy Sabaeth and out of bounds as Johansson quickly gets the Lords back their serve like you were looking for, John. And the Sting take their timeout here down by 8.
Yeah, let's make this the final timeout of the game here for them. I would love to see the Lords end this one. It's a great bounce-back performance at home from what we've seen last time, being swept. You would have liked to come back and sweep them, but finishing it up 3-1, 3 sets to 1, that'd be that's just as good. You get the W, man, and that's all that matters is those W's. I don't know if you've seen Jameis Winston this past couple weeks.
Oh God,
eating the W, man. And if you haven't seen it, folks, just look up Jameis Winston eating the W. It's one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen.
It's not good. And ever since he ate that W, Ryan Fitzpatrick has come in and taken over a quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, Winston's out for a couple of weeks with that shoulder injury. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Tampa. Back to the game, though.
Tampa's not good. I want to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a second, John, because I really thought they had a chance to be a good team coming into this NFL season, and they really struggled all the way through. And now Ryan Fitzpatrick is not the man to lead you to the promised land, as Bills, Jets, and about a dozen other NFL teams' fan bases will tell you that, that he is not the man.
You know, I liked him in a Bills uniform. I really did. They just didn't have a good coach. They didn't have anyone surrounding him. He is the predominant perennial backup sort of guy, but he's a Harvard graduate, man. He's not dumb.
Not a dumb guy. Doesn't make the smartest decisions on the football field. As we will end our NFL conversation. But if you want to hear more of John's hot takes, check out the Jake and John Show, noon tomorrow on the Durham Radio Network, otherwise known as Riot Radio. And you can tell I've been off school for too long. I almost forgot the name of the school radio station.
Yeah, you're disconnected from the school, and I don't blame you for that one. And look who's back in the game. We've got Vanden Heuvel with the serve, and let's see if she can close this one out.
Vanden Heuvel on serve, 5 points away from the match for the Lords, and they take the first one there as a bit of a miscommunication as that ball falls in front of Butcher. And you called for it, John. Vanden Heuvel back in this set, in this match, and 4 points away. Very impressive in the second set, going on a 7-serve run, and she looks to duplicate it here, but unable to do it as that ball just hits the top of the net and falls on the Durham side. 21-12.
Zach down there getting his order of Durham dogs, I guess. He was at the table for a good little bit. I was wondering if maybe he was going to walk away with a few dogs, but he seems to walk away empty-handed. Love to give him a little bit of trouble.
He's just putting an order in. He's thinking the game's going to be over soon. Give him some time. As Bonchef hits this ball from the backcourt, and a misplay there by number 3, Kiana Miller. As that ball probably was going to go out of bounds. From up here, it looked like it would, but she dove and got a hand on that. As Johansson gonna serve here for the Lords, 22-12 the score. Johansson sends that ball over the net. Butcher sends it for Watt, as that ball is gonna land inbounds, says the official.
Yeah, that was in the corner.
As a nice play there from the Sting as they try and rally here, 3 points away from a loss.
Sabaeth back in with the serve though.
Sabaeth sends that ball over right to Johansson. Johansson and Romaine hook up there for a nice little touch play by Romaine. Lords back on serve as Nicholson Clark comes back in the game, as Coach Clark not playing around with some of the role players, going right back to his big guns, and Nicholson Clark being one of them, and she makes no mistake on that as that ball drops right on the back touchline. And Nicholson Clark gonna have the ball in her hand for the win.
Let's see here, match point here.
Twilliger, for Nicholson Clark, sends this ball over. Set up Butcher, tries to find O'Donnell, and that ball will land right in front of Nicholson Clark as she dove trying to get a hand on that. And she's gonna come out as Frazier's gonna come back in.
Yeah, she took a tough fall there. she's okay. It's just that's a tough ball. I don't know if she had much of a chance, but you always got to try and throw your body at it, I guess.
For sure. This ball sent over by the Sting. Romaine for Bonchief. Bonchief sends that ball over. A nice deflection by the Sting, but that is going to be it as that ball falls on the Sting side of the net. Nicole Boyd unable to get the ball over, and the Durham Lords take a 3-1 victory over the Seneca Sting, defeating them in this final set 25-14, and they improve their record on the year
to 4-1.
4-1. Thanks, Johnny. As the Seneca Sting fall to 4-3 in their 7th game. Don't go anywhere. The men's teams for both these sides will be getting their first serve in what we expect to be just under a half-hour time. We may be a little bit delayed due to the extended length of this game, John.
As we're enjoying some T-Pain right now, All I Do Is Win, one of my favorite tracks.
The victory music for the Lords is on. That is one win for the Lords here in game 1 of the doubleheader. Myself and John Lodge will be back in just over 30 minutes time, 34 minutes on the countdown clock. The Lords defeat the Sting 3-1 and continue their strong play of the year over the number 10 ranked team in the country. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.